Thank you, Jude, and always a pleasure to meet you. So I think for us in TVS Supply Chain, when we had actually expanded into UK and Europe, we had a very strong defense footprint. And I would call it a significant business interest. 30% of our revenues in Europe comes from that sector.
Right.
But our aerospace sector actually requires, I would call it, special capabilities, especially on the certification, the traceability, and the visibility which it has created. And it's like a chicken or egg situation. It takes time to build, and you have to have the customer relationships in place. So actually, we have been trying to get into this sector. And from the Indian context, things have changed, as you know, quite dramatically. Both from the private sector and from the defense sector, I think there is significant manufacturing taking place in India. And Ala Corporation has the benefit of not just working on the aftermarket, but they also work on the production supply chain.
Right.
And that's something, the certification, the compliance requirement is something which really makes a big difference. So this joint venture is, I would call it, using both the benefits, if I can say that, of TVS interest in defense, the infrastructure and the support it provides in India, and most importantly, Ala's capabilities and customer relationships, which we are able to leverage and grow with and grow very fast.
Right. The best of both worlds, really, even as both companies in a sense complement each other, is what you're saying. However, even as you go about executing the JV in a sense over the next 5 years or so, what are some of the challenges that you will encounter? Because you're doing this at a time when there's a big global uncertainty that persists, especially over the last 3 months with regard to the crisis in West Asia. Do you see the worst behind us? Do you see there to be a few more bottlenecks up ahead in the road, both in the context of the JV itself and even otherwise? How has that crisis really impacted business in recent times, and how is it likely to impact business going forward?
So actually, let me answer it in two parts. On the first side, I think the West Asia crisis actually, in a way, further accentuates the requirement to be, they use the Prime Minister's words, Atmanirbhar, and therefore production and manufacturing and supply chains are going to be based in India.
Right.
So actually, for us, this is the perfect time for us to look at this joint venture. And I don't believe that any crisis today has going to have any negative effect on this. I don't want to use the word positive effect, but I would say it's actually a multiplier because there will be even more strong focus.
Right.
Having said that, as businesses, I think we continue to watch what's happening in the West Asia crisis. As a supply chain company, we have had to be very nimble, but I would say right now, we are still, I would not say there's anything negative for us from the crisis per se. But having said that, the knock-on effect on inflation, the knock-on effect on demand, etc., is something which we continue to watch. But speaking of, I would call it the beginning of the year, as compared also with what happened in the first 40 days after the war started, I think things are still okay.